only one difference. And that one difference, Hajra, is
Right.
their purpose to use money. Number one, for example, if we are to speak about people, below poverty line, they're only making sure that, okay, that they're going to get enough money to pay their bills. Now, when we speak about people who we categorize within the society as society members, that they are the middle class, what they do is that they need money to make sure that they have good credit limit to buy things which they cannot afford.
Okay.
Number two. Number three, with the elite test, why do you think that they stay elite or they stay on the top is because of the fact that they reinvest. So no matter how much money you save, you certainly need to know where you're saving it. Either you're just keeping it in your bank account. So imagine that if your currency is going to depreciate, ladies and gentlemen, you'll still be in loss. Whether you've invested it in gold, whether you've invested in real estate. So there are different types to it as well. But today in depth, what we wanted to do was that we wanted to talk about how can we actually generate more resources to improve the economy in totality as well. And to actually speak about it, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody who used to be the Public Information Officer, United Nations as well. He is Mr. Muhammad Abdul Wahab. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. Good morning. I'm fine. What about you?
Sir, absolutely perfect. Thank you
Good.
so much for joining us. But
Excellent.
first things first, sir, aajkal, everybody's asking this question, so I'm going to start with that.
Yes.
कैसा गुजारा हो रहा है, sir?
बस हो रहा है.
नमक तो नहीं फेंक दिया मैंने जले पे?
In fact, what is happening?
Yes.
मेरा गुजारा तो किसी तरह हो रहा है.
शुक्र अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह.
But daily I am having a number of SOS calls.
Okay.
And I'm feeling really disturbed and sometimes ashamed that having my own limited capacity, I cannot go beyond a certain limit, which is not allowing me to sleep well, because I always go with the feeling to the bed that somebody perhaps is really not able to eat, how he or she would be sleeping, So this is really horrible. This is terrible. And in my personal opinion, human beings are called superior creatures, We are supposed to solve our problems, not aggravate our problems.
True.
Unfortunately, what has been happening for last many decades, instead of solving our problems, we have been having, just an approach which aggravates our problems. We do not go after solutions which are in the capacity and in the reach of every common man.
So let's talk about solutions, okay? Let's not go here and there. Let's talk about solutions.
Exactly.
For example, we do see how the prices of vegetables are going up. We do see how I mean, almost for every other commodity, the prices have been going up. No matter what, maybe the tire for a car, maybe the fuel for the car, maybe the food on the table. Everything's getting expensive. Imagine that one Zinger burger we used to get for 500 or 600 rupees is at 900 or 1000 rupees today.
Exactly.
How do you think, okay, so I'm not saying that we really need to have fast food or it's a valid example, but obviously we'll have to cut out on all of what we used to do now.
Yeah. Shahzad, I would like to bring your questions to be a bit precise level. Let me start from that point.
Sure.
What to do?
Yeah.
What is happening? We do not adjust our expenditures according to our income or according to market.
Okay.
What happens, for example, when petrol was 215, I could afford, say 50 liters every month from my pocket.
Okay.
Now, when it has gone to 250, so what should I do? Instead of utilizing 40 or 50 liters, which I was doing, I should cut it short.
But now, sir, your daughter has grown up. She goes to a medical college, and that medical college is 40 kilometers away. What would you do?
Yes, there you are helpless, but what you can do...
So I'll be a common man.
Exactly.
So you give me the solutions, I'll be a common man.
Try, speak to your daughter
Okay.
and ask her to please pinpoint at least 4, 5 or 6 girls which reside in the same area.
Okay.
Or even at a distance of 3, 4 kilometers. You see, so usually we can have a WhatsApp group of the parents, like 5 or 6 parents, and for saving resources, let's distribute the turns. 1 week you take all those 4 daughters. Second week your next colleague.
Wonderful.
Third week the third person. Fourth week the fourth person. Exactly. So just try to ration it. At the same time, whenever you're coming to office, you're going back to office, I mean, you know people living around you or other know where you are living. So try to, I mean, just limitize your burden on your personal car.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I mean, ideally we should have been having big buses which could have accommodated like 40 to 60 people flying from various sectors to the main hubs of the city, but that is not the case.
Right.
So what we can do, let's share our resources. Our resources meager. I won't restrict myself to this place. You have a household and everybody knows vegetables, fruits and every other thing has gone skyrocketed during last 1 year. Globally as well, but here we have almost 3 times bigger impact. So what we can do? In Islamabad, throughout Pakistan, except perhaps the biggest city, Karachi, we are having small lawns everywhere. You see, if we don't have lawns, we can
Kitchen
use our
gardens.
rooftops.
Yep.
If we don't have natural soil, we can buy flower pots, say 2 dozen flower pots, put it on the rooftop,
Right.
grow vegetables,
Right.
put somewhere ginger, garlic, tomato,
Things
and
we
other
use
vegetables.
regularly.
You see, you know why we were not doing this earlier. For example, in case of Islamabad, if I would plant spinach, for example, it would cost me say 40 rupees for a small bundle of spinach, which would be available at the cost of rupees 10 in the
Sir,
market.
thank you very much for saying that. But I believe that it's not a very sustainable idea for the people who have been fruit vendors in the first place, the vegetable vendors. Where do you think they'll go? You know, because their sales are going to drop. They're not the people who actually, you know, have a great livelihood in the first place. Now, for example, for all of those people who had these van service
Yeah.
for kids to pick and drop, or, you know, people who actually are taxi drivers and they take or pick up all the students and then drop them, how do you think they will work out? Imagine that, you know, even obviously, you know, Metro bus is a blessing over here in the Twin Cities. Maybe go to Multan or Lahore. But imagine that it kind of did had an impact on the people who were actually running the transport business. But Allah knows better. Obviously,
you're
there
right.
might be a lot of difficulties.
Understand.
So we need to come up with a plan where nobody's business gets dented at least.
Right. Shazad, it's just like the idea of man and machine.
Okay.
You see, if we stick to your hypothesis, we would never introduce machines
Okay.
because machines are enemy of human resource. You see, so what could happen?
Adaptation.
The idea. I mean, suppose there is a street, there are 200 people. Once you introduce the idea of these kitchen gardens, everybody won't do that.
True.
People, there are professionals who are damn busy, you know. They don't have even a spare second. They can't do that. People who have comparatively, I mean, sort of, they are having resources, they have time, they have water as well. You see, so only they will do that, and its percentage won't be more than, in any case, 30 to 40. Ideally speaking, what we want to limitize, we want to restrict our burden to local market. What is happening? I have been saying this for ages. All these fake eggs, fake milk, so many other commodities.
Yeah.
They are fake because there is just too much pressure on market. You see, there's too less supply. So if we bring, say, 30 to 40% supply in the market, no vendor would be affected.
Wonderful idea.
Nobody would be affected. Rather, black marketing will be controlled.
Okay.
You know what happens basically? Let me tell you.
900 रुपए का किलो सर पोल्ट्री मुर्गी सर जो खाने में भी सेहतमंद नहीं है.
Now, I mean, who I can blame? You know, I mean, you know why it has skyrocketed
So I think
to
we
that
need to address the
amount.
elephant in the room, which is obviously the way we are leading our lives, which is getting very materialistic, right?
Yes.
So a lot of times we do not differentiate between what our wants and needs are, and a very famous definition of the poverty given by the World Bank is $1.5. A person who is earning a $1.5, right? This is the benchmark set for how.
day?
Yeah, one per day. Yeah. Of course, not per month.
Yeah.
So
I mean, $1.5 for Pakistan, I think these days is
It's
just
also
enough.
a
You know,
blessing,
I
yeah.
think it's going to make you 400 or 500 rupees.
That's true, but
Yes.
you cannot lead your entire month in the 400 or 500 rupees. So having said so, I don't believe that this definition is a very holistic definition because if you measure the lifestyle of our ancestor, Nana, Dada, so they were not leading a very luxurious life in terms of having so much material into the house,
Yeah.
but yet they focus on the education of the upbringing of their children. And I can't say that they were leading a very unhappy or a life in a poverty because they have their own standards, the definition of that, right? So how can we make sure that we are able to differentiate between our wants and needs, and we can come with a better solution, a multifaceted solution to the poverty?
Well, your question is really too big, and to find solutions is very easy. Implementation of that is too gigantic, you know. The reason being, we have fallen prey to luxurious lifestyle, you
That's
know.
true.
I mean, if I ask you to go back to your home on motorbike, you would say, never on my dead body. You see, if somebody asked me,
I'm not that radical, a dead body thing.
today I had to drop my
Right.
car almost 3 kilometers away and I walked to PTV just because traffic was
True.
stuck. You see, I would never have imagined with suit I'm walking on the footpaths, but I did because it was a compulsion.
Yeah.
So now we have to understand the era of wants is over. Now we are in the era of compulsions. You see, we will have to perforce adopt habits. We will have to become real, simple human beings. We will
Right.
have to, set aside luxury cars.
We need to go back to Stone Age. That's what you're
Not
referring
Stone Age.
to. I think at times it does feel like as if.
I
we're
mean,
going
for
back to
example,
I mean,
30 years ago.
differentiating wants and needs
Yeah.
is a different
30 years
thing.
ago.
Yeah.
30 years ago. In my family, there was a car, but no child was using that car in order to go to school or college or university. You see, we were all using public transport.
transport, yeah.
Public transport was there. What is happening these days? You see, there are 4 members of the family, there are 4 cars, and imagine how much petrol do we need. And this petrol, 250 per liter, this is deadly, you know. I mean, this will make us dead. So what I'm saying, let's adopt, for example, one bus for 40 people, have your kitchen gardens, don't restrict to kitchen garden only.
किसी किसी दिन
Poultry.
मटन भी पका लिया.
No, that's what I'm saying. For example, have at least 10 to 12 chickens in your small cage within your that lawn or on your rooftop.
Right.
What will happen? I mean, eggs are short. You will be surprised. Almost 15 days ago, my brother-in-law, he went to 4 big stores of Islamabad.
Yeah.
In every department store, they refused him to sell eggs. Eggs were there. And he went, can you please tell me? Eggs are there. Why you refuse me? Sir, it's not for you. He said, please tell me. Sir, they are reportedly fake eggs.
My God.
Imagine, big stores in Islamabad. We are not talking about Burewala, or we are not talking about any
The
part of Sindh.
not so posh area. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is happening in Pakistan.
And sir, in addition to that, obviously, thank you very much for bringing this to the attention of people. And they certainly really need to be careful about it. But having said that, there's one more debate which we can have, and that is that imagine that when we speak about, or when we give examples of the developed countries, obviously this inflation is over there as well.
Yes.
We're speaking about global inflation. But there's one thing which they have always catered to, and that is to the basic needs of the people who live within that country.
Exactly.
Now imagine that if every time when I was in UK
Yeah.
or US, I saw that that when in UK when I went to get bread, it would only cost me 20 or 30 pence. It's not even a pound.
Yeah.
So anything which I would want to eat, I can probably manage it in 1 or 2 pounds throughout the day.
Yeah.
I can get anything to eat. I can travel. I can do whatever. The transportation system is great. That's something which we do understand. So I think that what we really needed to do over here was that we really needed to make sure. For example, I'm going to take you to New York City, where I think it was the Kushner who happens to be the Ivanka Trump's husband as well. So what they do is that they have this Kushner group, who had 22,000 or more apartments all over the United States of America. But in New York City, the government actually regulates that you cannot do massive increase in the rent, so that it actually ensures the livelihood of the people who have rented, right? But we do not have any such policy in place over here, where people kind of speak about कि यार मुर्गी का रेट नहीं बढ़ाना, अंडे का रेट नहीं बढ़ाना, नहीं बढ़ सकता, कानून साजी हो जानी चाहिए.
This is misfortune. We did that for dollar. We stopped it at 225, 226. What happened? You see, you were not able to import anything.
The banks even stopped. Yeah,
Your seaports got filled with items and there was no money. Why?
True.
Because this measure was taken.
True.
Now you take the same measure. What will happen? the
there
thing
won't
is,
be any food.
Backfire.
Thank you.
Good
You
question.
see, let me tell. The country you mentioned, I have been to New York.
Obviously,
I have
you
been
were
to
a
other
member of
parts of
UN.
US, at the same time England. What happens there? Poor is given sheer importance there. Here, poor is just discarded.
True.
Poor is just thrown out of the world. Basically what happens, we have to ensure that every poor lives, every poor